Welcome back, YouTube, to part two of the NFL football season preview. We are now going to go ahead and move on to talk about the third place team last year in the AFC South, which will be the Jacksonville Jaguars. I think the theme for Jacksonville Jaguars here is that they're continuing to search for legitimacy again. We have not perceived the Jacksonville Jaguars to be a legitimate franchise, I would say, that wins consistently and stuff like that. So I think once again they're looking just to have consistent winning seasons back in Jacksonville, like they did back in the Tom Coughlin days, back in the '90s, and then that miracle season that they had in 2017, led by Leonard Fournette and Blake Bortles, reaching the AFC Championship game. But let's go ahead and get started talking about the Jacksonville Jaguars. So Jacksonville has got a brand new head coach. Of course, they fired Doug Pearson during the season last year, and they have hired Liam Cohen, the former Tampa Bay Buccaneers offensive coordinator, that essentially rekindled Baker Mayfield look like $1 million. He's going to try to do the same thing with Trevor Lawrence, who has had, to say at least, an up and down career. In his this will be his fifth season in the NFL. Of course, his major highlight would have been the comeback win in the postseason against the Los Angeles Chargers in the wild card round before losing to Kansas City in the divisional round about, what was that, 4 years ago or 3 years ago, I believe. But they bring back a lot of veteran pieces, including Trevor Lawrence at quarterback. Travis Etienne is still the featured back there in Jacksonville. They got Brian Thomas Jr., you got De'Ami Brown in there, but then the one that everyone's been talking about, that the Jacksonville Jaguars traded up to the number 2 overall pick to go get Travis Hunter, the rookie, out of Colorado. The first two-way players in about 60 years in the NFL will be in Jacksonville. The tight end there in Jacksonville will be Brendan Strange. I've never heard of him before, but he's there. The focal point on defense, though, it will be led by Eric Armstead and Trayvon Walker, both there at D tackle and D lineman. We've got Devin Lloyd there. We've got Savage. We've got Tyson Campbell down there as well. So I think Jacksonville moved up in the draft, obviously, to go get Travis Hunter because they needed some sort of a spark to get these butts in the season because Jacksonville is just they're kind of flat these days, and they need a nice little boost. So overall, they are 202 and 282. That's a .417 winning percentage of all time. Of course, they have not been around that long. They came around, I think, in 1995. So this will be their 30th all-time season in Jacksonville. In the division, they have sub 500 records against all three of the other teams between the Titans and the Colts and the Houston Texans, with the worst of them being against Houston, where they only win about 32.6% of the time. All right, so given all of the hype around Travis Hunter and a new change in regime at head coach with Liam Cohen, let's go and take a look at their schedule. So last year they finished 4-13, which was an abysmal record. Their 4 wins came against a sweep of the Tennessee Titans and a win against the Colts in Jacksonville for the 10th straight year, I believe that would be. And then the other one was against the New England Patriots at home. So we look at their schedule. Over under is 6.5 wins, and as you can see there in my projections, I'm not seeing this team becoming even close to that. I think this is going to be a struggle for their first year head coach in Jacksonville, Liam Cohen. But I do not have them winning a game until a surprise win in Week 7 in London against the Los Angeles Rams. Then I have them beating the Chargers, and again, kind of like an upset win, kind of, but then I have them winning 3 of their last 4. I do not believe this is a schedule that's not going to be well liked, I would say, among Jags fans. I think there are definitely some winnable games. I think, namely against the Carolina Panthers, against the Las Vegas Raiders, and against Tennessee a couple times. But I just think overall this is an under-talented team. I do not believe that they're going to go far at all this season. I have them going 5-12 overall, having tied for last place in the division with another team that we will discuss later on. But I just think there's a difference between having hype and then having having the evidence to back up all the hype and all the stuff like that. And I don't think Travis Hunter is going to be like the one guy that's going to put Jacksonville on the map. It's going to need to be a collective effort. I don't think Trevor Lawrence is the guy. I don't think he's been the guy ever since they drafted him. Because I just think he can't win in the big moments, to be perfectly honest, at least in the NFL level. I know at the college level he did, but not at the NFL level. But I think, I mean, there could be some upset wins. I only have him winning one road game this entire season, so going 1-7 on the road and winning three, or I say three home games, true home games, and then that one classified home game, which they're the designated home team against the Rams in London. But as you see on the schedule, they do have a Monday night appearance against the Kansas City Chiefs in Jacksonville, so that should be interesting. But outside of that and their London game at 9:30 in the AM on NFL Network in Week 7, they've got a bunch of 1 o'clock and 4 o'clock games. There's nothing really much to write home about with this team. But again, you never know. I mean, this is NFL, so anyone can wake up one day and go from a 4-13 team to a 10-7 record in no time. So you never know what can happen with these teams. But I think Jacksonville this year is just not going to be. It's going to be flat once again. They're going to finish at 5-12. All right, so hope you enjoyed watching this video talking about the Jacksonville Jaguars. In the next video, we will discuss the second place team in the AFC South, which will be the Indianapolis Colts. Until then, have a great day, and I'll catch you in the next video.